Hello. I'm here to get my Cinema Stash rehash on. Hello.
Cinema Stash.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm out of here.
Cinema Stash Rehash Halloween.
And welcome to Cinema Stash Rehash's Halloween episode. Oh, that was special.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, very special. Well, anyway, so yes, welcome to Cinema Stash Rehash. I am Jason McLendon. I'm with Wyatt Campbell.
What's up? Happy Halloween.
And Chris Massan.
It's time for scares, bitches.
And well, in this episode, it's like I didn't feel, or I guess we didn't feel really, that it was like a mainstream horror film that should be done tonight. Like no Friday the 13th or Halloween. It was like kind of a more obscure choice. We felt Creepshow was probably the best one. Stephen King and George Romero. How can you not want to do the two greatest?
Yeah, it's classic 80s.
You know,
gotta go with the classic 80s.
It was a perfect combination of the guy who writes it and the guy who directs it. So it was great. So yeah, I'm excited to discuss this movie and see what everybody really kind of felt about it, what it meant to everybody. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're talking early 80s. So, I mean, came out in 82, so probably filmed in 81 or 80.
Like, it was almost 70s.
Yeah. It had that 70s stink all over it.
It did. Like the clothes, like the filters they use and stuff.
I mean, right off the bat, like the scene with the family, the dictatorish dad who won't let his son read horror comics, but rather than explain it to him, he's just like, oppressive about it. And then the mom who's cowering at the the entryway of his
just
room.
Looks the other way.
Yeah,
like,
and
Hank, I can't remember his name. But
it was very 70s.
Yeah, and like I half expected him to like light up a cigarette in his son's room before he slaps him.
Just like puts a cigarette out on his son.
But he does pour a cheap beer into a drinking water glass.
Yeah, he does. He takes some crystal out and fucking pours a beer in it.
He's probably an accountant or something.
And it's a cheap beer. Yeah, it's like just a pop top. I thought that was so 70s. Everything about that scene was so 70s.
And it's Stephen King's son is the boy.
Right.
Joe King. Well, Joe's something else, but I mean, yeah, Joe King. And when you look at him now, I mean, after I read this, I was like, oh shit, just looking at him you can kind of say, oh yeah, he's a little kingish.
Yeah, I mean, going off his...
he's like a clone.
Very kingish, really.
Going off his IMDb photo, I mean, he damn near looks like a younger Stephen King, and whether or not that's just, him or the way that he keeps his hair like Stephen King's. I don't know. But he's definitely he's like a mini-me.
If they were like CGI Stephen King as a young Stephen King, that's what Joe Hill.
They should redo Creepshow and have him play Jordy.
Seriously,
totally
do the whole thing. He ain't no idiot.
I thought watching the whole thing, Jordy looked familiar.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah,
and then just going through the notes today, I was like, oh.
Well, I mean, right away when you watch the film, just the way he like speaks his lines, you're like, there's something off about this child. Yeah. So it was.
He's a bad actor.
But I mean, what I love, I mean, just with the opening, and like you said, with the family and everything. But I love how comic booky this film is. I mean, it is a comic book. I mean, it is basically.
Yeah, they have the animations in the back to kind of throw you through panels in a comic book page.
Is exactly what I mean. Right when they throw the comic down into the trash can, and it's like I think that's what probably sucked me into this movie when I was a kid.
But it's like clunky, like Iron Maiden animation, like in the Iron Maiden music videos, where it was kind of like, oh, this is like like B-rate, animation, but It's still awesome. Probably for the time too. 82. I mean, animation back then wasn't where it is now, so
No, I think that's
may
what
not
I
have looked so clunky.
that's what I fell in love with. I mean, that's I was kind of a kid that just watched horror films when I was really young. I think I started a little too young, like 7 or 8 years old, and I was watching like Halloween films and stuff like that. And I definitely watched this because my parents had this massive catalog of movies. Wyatt knows.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the Rolodex at the McClendon house.
Yeah.
There's quite the archive of movies.
Laser disc after laser disc.
I wish it was Laserdisc. This catalog
VHS,
of VHS.
baby.
Oh, in the binder. That was the organization was
They
ridiculous.
had VHS binders.
No.
How old are you?
That's not how it works. The parents. Yeah.
Boosh, and just
It was more like a card catalog in a library to check out a book.
I
It's
gotcha. You
like,
just
okay, what number
Yeah.
is? I remember going to watch Airplane over at Jason's house, and it was like, okay, where's Airplane? Let's go through the
Rolodex.
catalog. Yeah,
No, my parents' movie organization.
and roll down the hallway. And find
It was,
those things.
I felt like Ghostbusters.
Hey, I had never seen this creep show until I watched it recently. So
Yeah.
that was the first time. I mean, obviously it was super early 70s, but
It felt, for sure.
I mean, and it kind of felt like a after school horror, like almost like Goosebumps, but with like a little more gore to it.
My wife and I
like
were talking
murder.
about this before, actually last night, and we couldn't remember. Like there was another TV series, like what Chris has said.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
No, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
With the skeleton and everything, and that's what I loved about that because it felt very Tales of the Crypt, especially with the animation at the end,
Yeah.
even with the skeleton outside the kid's room, going,
The creepy skeleton that's just standing there.
and
looking at
his
him.
nickname around set was
Wasn't it Raoul?
Raoul. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, apparently all the monsters had nicknames, but it was the comic bookie that goes into it, and then that leads us into the Father's Day first short.
Which is probably my least favorite one out of all of them.
Do you think
Why?
that, really?
Is it
Why?
because
No, tell me. I want to know.
You don't like cake or something?
It's Father's Day. Where's my cake?
This is one of my favorite ones.
I don't know. I think it's I don't know. There's a long lead in.
I agree. I feel like half of the time is spent with the kids, like setting up, or the mother setting up this
I don't know
long
who she
drawn
was.
out.
I guess it
thing.
was the mother.
I don't know. Yeah, I
It
mean,
was super drawn out for having nothing to do with anything.
And we had the
Yeah.
family. We had the brother
Because-
and the sister, and then Ed Harris played the daughters.
which
I love his character.
and I love Ed Harris. Sorry to interrupt.
I do. I love Ed Harris
Well,
too.
And I would say rewatching this movie, that's all you're like, oh shit, Ed Harris is in this, and then like that long drawn out scene to build up to this woman who really gets killed right off the bat.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh man, is she gonna like start killing them? And then she goes to his grave and spills whiskey on the grave, and he comes alive, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, where's my cake, bitch?
Where's my cake?
He's Rick
Bedelia.
James right out of the fucking grave.
Oh. But I thought, to me, I felt it was the exact opposite of what you just said, because I watched this movie so many times when I was younger. I felt it was very drawn out then, but I thought it was very fast this time, because like I didn't really feel like the movie went too long.
The movie moves so fast.
Well, I thought, because you'd introduced to these asshole just people, pretentious rich fucks.
Yeah.
They're just basically, saying, "Oh, Aunt Bedelia killed her father on Father's Day," and where's my cake,
Bedelia,
bitch?
that's her
Yeah,
name, Bedelia.
Yeah, and I just felt it like moved on. Then she shows up in her car and she goes to the grave, and like she channels her hatred for her husband. She wanted to do that scene completely freelance. I mean, she didn't want it to be scripted. She wanted to go in it because I guess she had hatred. And then it was just like, damn, it took the spill of the whiskey.
Yeah, I mean the spill in the whiskey, and then he comes out of the grave and just freaking kills her.
I thought it was so fucking dumb. I'm gonna stop right there.
Well, no. This is my main point about this entire the anthology is that people can't run away.
No.
They get so petrified by a monster that they just sit there and go,
Romero will have to explain this to me when we wrote Both in Heaven Chillin' or something, but how on earth does an old grandpa zombie now turn into like a superhero, strong, quick grandpa zombie that can control blocks of cement and
Well, that's the part that bugged me, because you're right. I mean, Ed Harris comes out and he sees the grave, and he falls somehow, and then the tombstone starts slowly moving out. Like he had ample time to get the fuck out of that area.
He spent more time looking at it and going like, "Oh my god!" But then he could have like just getting away from it.
And then the body is like right there, and he's like, "Oh!" And then he just like looks back up. I mean, fuck, the body is worth the moment to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But he just stays, and he gets crushed.
Everybody stays. Everybody stays to just take it.
Yeah.
They just take it. I mean,
I just don't understand. What did Ed Harris's character do wrong?
Nothing.
He did.
Besides be married to them.
Yeah. You know? I mean, he was having a good time, like dancing to that 70s music with his wife. You know,
and that was such a
terrible scene.
It's like so unnecessary, but it's there.
I think late 70s dancing is some of the sexiest dancing there. Just bopping around.
I'm just like, nobody can pay Ed Harris to dance now, I bet.
No, I wonder if he looks back and it like wonders why he does that like jarring like facial fellatio face. With just like you know?
That's probably how he dances.
This is like, it was so bad. And I know he probably looks at it like that was like the worst part of my career.
He'd probably be like, I got paid $10,000 to do that.
At least. It had to be.
He had to get paid more than that.
I don't know, man. I don't know,
man. Yeah, anyways, that was a lame. It wasn't my favorite get started clip. I wouldn't have started with that one. I probably would have started with
you mean the story
one.
Itself?
Yeah, I didn't. If that was the story that was going to catch you for the rest of the movie, I didn't. Literally, the Ed Harris part where he was staring at the gravestone, falling on his head for 5 minutes was like
it was stupid.
Yeah. That's so bad.
And so I think we're gonna agree to.
All he had to do was roll.
We're just gonna move to the next one, which is one of my favorites.
Okay.
And what was it called, Wyatt?
It's called The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was my favorite because it was different. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, superb acting
King,
by Stephen King.
Stephen King was funny. He was terrible, but he was funny.
Meteor shit.
Meteor poopy.
I
could sell this for
meteor
$10.
shit.
Yeah.
Meteor shit.
That's meteor poopy.
But that was the part. Is like the professor was hilarious. I mean, and then he turned into the doctor later or something like that. It was the same guy, but he was the eeriest.
It's just going to be extremely painful, Mr. Verrill.
It was so good, man.
But he kept licking that finger, even with like all the warts on it. And he's just like still shoving it around.
Oh God!
Just, like salivating on it, and it's like, oh fuck.
They're just basically burying this guy on like his in his idiot grave with all the the things that he does, the licking his fingers after he already sees that stuff on there.
Yes,
and then like just watching TV, just like being like, well, what, whatever.
It's a typical man. Like, we don't seek help when we should.
Yeah,
go to the fucking doctor. Figure that shit out.
About it.
He thought about it. But his stupid dumbass conscience. Like,
I would have thought about it and been like, well, shit, maybe it's right, maybe not.
Well, give me a break, dude. I mean, like, first, okay, yeah, just shit on the fingers. I get it. I'll wait that out.
Yeah.
But when the shit starts growing on your chest and down into your shit.
But it wasn't affecting his, like, he could still
junk.
breathe and shit.
Dude, this shit's on my junk. I'm at the doctor.
Oh, shit, not down there. Oh, no. Oh, darn it.
But yeah, I guess he had a major reaction. And like, the whole time he was filming that, he had like shots for, like, just to get through it.
I can sell this meteor poop for $10 each.
Yeah, Mama didn't raise no idiot.
No, seriously though. But some of the foliage, dude, totally like starts terraforming the whole area.
Oh yeah.
And some of that shit reminded me of some weed plants.
Because there's
wouldn't mind some weed meteor dropping.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah.
A weed meteor dropping.
There's actually a thing called panspermia. It's it's like as if like outer space bodies bring life to a planet.
I think that's how the Earth started to begin.
Oh,
with.
for sure.
Dude, totally. I mean, it's like some other planet.
That's how we're gonna start Mars.
Some other planet.
We have to. That's the only way.
Yeah, some comet or whatever jizzed on the egg of the Earth.
Comet.
Some comet poopy. I got comet poopy on my shirt. That was the best. That was the best one for sure. That scene. I like that. I like that one.
Well, it's like I felt like did you pay attention though at all like to like the monster voices? They had the same monster voice for every monster.
Oh, really?
In the entire film. Like even when like
So you mean like the gargled kind of
gargled like guttural
when he's covered in moss and he's like
yeah, that exactly. It's the same thing that where's my cake Bedelia dude, and even later in the next couple. I mean, the next few that we're going to talk about, it's like the same voice.
Please, God.
True.
You know, I mean, it's like they had that one special effect, and they're like, we're going to bleed this fucking dried.
It's just like a flanger or something. It's just like blah, blah, blah.
It's like the newest thing or something. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
but that was a good one, dude. I mean, it's like that's what I love about this film is it really does. I mean, it's called Creepshow for a reason because it literally tackles all your like the creepiest factors of life. You know, I mean, the fear of the unknown, which would be the one with Jordy. I mean, I can't control it. You know, and fear of the dead.
And it's not
many others.
Like he was an idiot, but at the same time, it's like most people would probably pick up a meteor if they saw it hit the ground because they would think like it's worth something.
I love the idea of like all I want to do is make money on this, and that's like it's never stopped. Your idea is just to make money. Yeah,
and like they just presented it in the most podunk way where he's just like having like a thought bubble above his head basically.
And I love that.
Yeah, it was hilariously stereotypical and just
So here let's get deep about that one. How did that end to you? How did that skit end to you?
Okay,
it ended to me with like basically an organism taking over. Like that's the beginning of an organism taking over.
It's like the plant thing.
The guy knew was like it's gonna be really green outside. Like maybe that was just the Earth kicking up some green.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder. I mean, like theoretically, if a meteor could do that, like how many of the plants on our planet like actually evolved or was
actually here?
Yeah, was meteor.
Maybe Jordy didn't need to kill himself.
Think about it. When the asteroid hit the dinosaurs,
he might have been like a plant lord or something, and just because
that's a crazy idea to think.
Or it could have just the asteroid digesting him.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, the asteroid that killed potentially the dinosaurs. I mean, that could be the reason what terraformed.
Yeah, we might have been part of that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's ridiculous. But anyway, but fun.
That's way too deep. I didn't mean to go that deep.
Well, that's what happens when you spark that. Yeah. But no, I mean the thought of something taking complete control over you. And like by that point, he was too far gone. There was no way he's not going to jump in the car and go down and help himself.
No,
by that
Jordy's fate was
he's over.
Once he got in the water and fed the organism, he was done.
Yeah,
and it was obvious the organism was telling him like, you need to get in there.
And that was a pretty deep scene. I mean, he took a gun and
his conscience was telling him like,
I can't do this.
Yeah, like,
dude. And no, I mean that's a creep fact. I mean it was crazy. He chose to end his own life.
Well, because I mean, he was, maybe a super smart person might have been like, "Oh, this is just the plant telling me I need to get in the water. I don't need to get in the water." But he was just like, I need a bath.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that feels so good.
I get this comet poopy off my shirt.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, no. So like I said, that was probably the better one to me because it was off. It was different.
For sure.
No, I agree.
I don't know how.
I don't know if it was my favorite, but I understand what you're saying. It's just like a different.
I think the last one was probably my favorite, but
really,
I think
interesting.
So.
No, that's like one of my least. But anyway, we'll get to it.
Well,
for sure.
I mean, like Stephen King did the screenplay, and he also wrote, a lot of these short stories. So I wonder if it, I mean, it's kind of on him. Like he was the one that decided to go with Father's Day to open this, and maybe that's how his book was, but.
I guess one of them did switch around from the original screenplay, and I can't remember. I think something about the Tide one, and then something else. But anyway.
All right, so that's a good segue. So the next one. Next one is
something to tide you over,
which I loved. I actually really enjoyed that one. The reason why I enjoyed it though was because it's not your typical Leslie Nielsen, and from what we know,
Leslie Nielsen is a savage villain.
No, he is an actor.
The only other movie I've seen him where he's a villain is Surf Ninjas, and I mean, come on, we can't really expect.
But it's still comedic.
Well, you know what Surf Ninjas is?
Fucking yeah, I know.
Yeah, do you know Surf Ninjas? Have you seen Surf Ninjas?
Of course.
You can't buy a knife with money. Dude, Rob Schneider, I don't think anybody ever saw that. Okay, cool.
But I mean, still, it was
guilty pleasure later.
Right. It was still comedic. I mean, it wasn't like but this is him. He is physically sadistic.
See, I had a hard time with it, I had a hard time being
I
serious with
thought he was a savage villain. I mean,
No, I thought he was
I think he
great.
killed it, dude. I was like, oh my
No.
god, he's so convincing as like a psycho. You know,
No, he was serious. But this is what I love
like, he
about
should
Leslie
be an
Nielsen.
American Psycho.
So
I
what
think he's a great comedy actor. I think he's
is.
a terrible serious actor. So if he was trying to be comedic, then it was funny and it was okay. But if
Yeah.
he was trying to be serious, then it was terrible acting.
No, but that's
feel
what I
bad
loved
saying
about
that.
it, though, because seriously, he is known as what we know him as. So it's hard to like go back and see him as something else.
Yeah,
I think. But I mean, at the same time, I wonder if you looked back. I thought this when I was watching this, but then when I read a really good fact about him, then I know that he was meant to do comedy. But it was. See him is that this is serious sadistic role. I wonder if you look back and he's like, fucking never should have done an Airplane or some shit like that. Because I mean, he was so good as being
he
a
also did
crazy dude.
Police Squad and stuff.
Well, yeah,
He
but
did-
that's
he
what
did
I
a
mean.
bunch. He did a bunch of those guys.
But to know that, like, a really great fact is, like, you know, the whole time he was on set for this film, he had a fart machine in his pocket.
Yeah,
You know, and it would go off all the way through auditions and just crack everybody the fuck up. And then right then when I read that, I'm going, oh, no, he was meant to be a comedic actor. He
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to be,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, from the get-go. But I just thought it was crazy because, you know, he's so good as a serious, sadistical motherfucker.
yeah.
And then you know him with everything else he does, you know?
I mean, in Surf Ninjas, it's ridiculous, but I think that's because there's 90 minutes of movie there where he's a villain. I think it works in this because it's so short that I feel like Leslie Nielsen, it's like, you give him like a 90-minute movie, there's no way he could pull off being a sadistic villain the entire time because he's too goofy. You know?
No, he's got like a 20-minute cap. And
See,
I was like,
I disagree. I think he pulls off that villain better.
Are you
Because
talking about the Surf Ninja villain?
Yes, because you know he's a fucking full of shit, and so you're like, you're watching it thinking, nah, this guy's full of shit. You know what I mean? But like,
instantly, yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, but I did like Ted Danson. Ted Danson was good. I liked him. I always like him. He's a
That was my favorite scene though. This is the introduction of him and Wentworth. It was Wentworth and Richards, right?
Yeah, well, and Ted Danson, the knight in shining corduroy.
See, that was Leslie Nielsen being what he could be.
Yeah,
you know, right there. You know, but I mean, I loved it because like I thought of like Don't Call Me Shirley, but like the first like right when he opens it, he goes, he's calling through Wentworth through the door, and he opens it and he goes, you know, back that foot out of there because I can bench 300 pounds. It's like, no, you can't. You're too frail. But still, this. I mean, and then he's like, don't call me. I think don't call me whatever it was, but he said the line "Don't call me whatever," and I kept thinking from Airplane from "Don't call me Shirley."
Did you guys notice he had a bunch of TVs like a villain should?
Yes,
That's
we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
He was supposed to.
Exactly.
It was so crazy because he forces him to get in that hole.
Yeah.
Well, not alone just to get there originally. I mean, it was just like, you know.
He had him by the balls because Ted Danson was boning his wife or whatever. And yeah, so I mean, it was Ted Danson was blinded by love and was just like, you know, because he showed him the TV screen.
True.
And yeah, I mean, well, and he had a gun too. He pulled the gun on him, was like, just get in the fucking hole. You know?
Well, I forgot. I mean, because I thought when he enters and it's like he's so bent about, you know, you need to take better care of your television. He was so bent about the television. It's like he was really.
Yeah.
But then it makes sense because it transitions because that's it. You know, you get to see your love on TV. And it was so ridiculous. I mean,
I think that was so. I think it was super nerve wracking and stuff. While that was good.
yes.
And if it would have ended there with Liam with what's his face just being a monster, that would have been okay. But it didn't. It didn't end there. It came back with two zombies coming through that were terrible looking zombies.
Well, and before even that happened, I was like, oh, I mean, Ted Danson's gonna dig himself out of there with that chin. He just needs to sit there and move his head and chop it back and forth, and you know he might dig a hole.
Scoop it on up.
Yeah. What I'm saying is his chin is a pickaxe.
It's a pretty prominent chin, though.
Dude, his
He's a
chin.
beautiful man.
I mean, his 82 chin. Damn. Like,
Cheers.
I feel like did his chin shrink? I mean, or does it just?
I think he definitely got some chin work for sure. In order to stay in
some
Hollywood,
chin
he had to bring it
reduction.
down. It's messed up.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to kill on Ted Danson's
So
chin too
yeah,
much.
they come back, you know, as wet disgusting,
But that was my problem with the
They were
film.
terrible.
I mean, because I loved it because seeing Leslie Nielsen as he is in the film, and then for some reason, like he just kills him. The tide comes in and it takes care of him,
and he goes out there
and he goes out and
like,
cleans up, and then he's back at his house. It's the same fucking night. I mean, it made sense if they would have said like 6 months later. Or something like that, because like they came back like they've been like swallowed up by the ocean for an extended period of time.
I didn't think of that. So
yeah,
right.
well, seriously though, right? I mean,
because when they show him when he's drowning under there, it's
right.
Like, okay, so the tide's going to be in for 12 hours. He's not going to look like he did after 12 hours.
Yeah.
Even if he was a zombie, he would still just be like a guy who looked like he drowned and not like a guy who looked like he decomposed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to see you, Richard. We want to see. We want.
I thought it was real creepy. It was a total creep show until they decided to bring the two zombies back.
Yeah, well, and they were like, I like how the zombies were like, they just like had a snail trail of seaweed.
right.
Like wherever they were, like there was the doorknob that had seaweed on it.
Oh, a zombie was there.
yeah.
You have to know.
I thought it was pretty funny though, because I mean, if little did you know there, I guess Ted Danza was on the set that day, and he brought his daughter to the set and didn't know what he was filming at that point, and then he went through extensive makeup or whatnot for the I'm coming back from the dead scene. So the whole day he was like trying to avoid her because he didn't want a little small child to see him look like that. And then I guess she like bumped right into him, and she looks up and goes, "Oh, hi, Daddy."
Yeah. You know how she recognized him?
No.
The chin.
That's got to be it.
Does his daughter have the chin too?
Dude, probably.
His son does. Oh wait, no, that's Stephen King. Sorry.
Well, so I mean, I like that one. I thought it was a pretty good.
It's one of the ones because I'd seen this when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that's one of the ones I remember. I remember it being pretty. As a kid, I thought it was kind of scary, but I still remember it kind of being cheesy as a kid. Like the whole Creepshow as a whole, but this one was the most memorable, I think, because of the Naked Gun movies I knew.
The sand part is messed up. Like that's a terrible way to go, but the zombies are terrible.
So I mean, real quick, I have a question for you guys. So who's the real bad guy in that one, though?
Well,
yeah.
Well, the guy that murders for sure.
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, yeah.
Okay. It's like a great question of revenge because he was wronged, and then he didn't really like. I mean, he killed them, but
yeah, but that was like torture.
Nature killed them. I mean, and then they come back and then they kill him. So it's like even though they wronged first.
So I think this would be acceptable revenge if like somebody killed your wife, your family,
right?
But because of your wife cheating on you, you like murder her and then her lover.
Yeah, it's a little extreme.
It's psychotic. In a terribly horrible way too.
Yeah,
that's pretty psychotic.
And it wasn't like I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you out of passion. It was like, I'm going to plan this.
Yeah, and he wanted to get his popcorn out and fucking
like I need to make sure
before he went to bed.
I need to make sure I have a Jeep with at least like 7,000 feet of power cord because what the fuck?
He's got the spool on the Jeep.
Like, do you see that? That back there is a VCR recorder.
Yeah.
Like where you plug that into? You're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody out there, bro.
Oh, I've got.
You gotta have a generator in that shit.
Of coaxial cable.
You just don't ask questions. And so that way. That one ended bad for me, but the next one started up nice.
I liked the crate.
The crate. Oh, the crate's classic.
Yeah, the crate was one of my favorites growing up, especially. I think it was just because like you meet Billy and you just hope bad things happen to her.
What's the matter with you two? You're not drinking?
Well, actually, we just got here.
Oh, well, we can take care of that. You just come on with me. Henry, you stay here till I get back.
Oh, yeah, Billy,
the drunk wife.
Yeah.
But anyway,
part, she's not needed in this whatsoever. It could have just been about Dexter and what's his face.
But I think that added to it. I mean, I love that about it. Because you hate her.
Well, yeah, I hated her, but
and she's Billy's played by Adrienne Barbeau, and she's great. She's been in so many
we've talked about in this podcast, by the way.
Yeah,
because she was the voice of the computer in The Thing.
In The Thing, yes, and she's been in many great.
She's married to John Carpenter.
Actually, I'm not sure if she is still, but I'm sure, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's
Like
no, it
40
doesn't matter.
Was,
Yeah.
is.
But yeah, at the same time, I mean, and John Carpenter directed another great horror film that I've loved and grew up with The Fog. And there's many of actors that was featured in Creepshow that's also featured in.
And you mean like Hal Holbrook?
Yes,
who
exactly.
plays Henry.
Yes.
And Adrian Barbeau.
Yes, and even the dad who slapped Joe King around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he actually plays like the main character that Jamie Lee Curtis in the film pals around with for the rest of the film. But anyway, I love the correlation between all these horror films, especially in the early '80s, because a lot of them knew each other, and all the actors bounce back and forth between films. But The Crate was by far one of my favorite ones, and it's mostly because you're introduced to them at like some sort of dinner or a dinner party or whatever it is, and you meet Adrienne Barbeau's character, who's Billy, and she's just this drunk.
Yeah.
Who just kills it.
The embarrassing drunk wife.
And I love the exchange between whenever Billy is around and they just look at each other like, fuck, that's my wife.
Yeah.
It's always like this, I'm so embarrassed. She's just...
My name is
fuck.
Wilma, but call me Billy.
Yeah. And she's just a terrible...
But I think that she is necessary to this because... You want to throw her in the crate.
You really do.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time, it is...
Especially when she pours some fucking milk and scotch or whatever the fuck she's drinking.
Oh, shit.
I was
yeah.
just like, dude, okay, wow. Like, that's your come home and feel good drink? Holy shit.
That's the night after drinking.
I just don't get why she was in this at all.
because they like had to have just the crate eat a student and a janitor.
Yeah, but so the crate, but it murdered 2 people.
Yeah,
like that was enough for them to want to throw it in the deep end.
I know, but
yes,
but let's say like a bunch of people get murdered and then it gets turned into the authorities or whatever. Like they had to have somebody like button it up, and that was going to be Henry.
Basically, Henry's a murderer.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh, in the end grand scheme of things, yeah.
I mean, it's like he's a murderer in the clunkiest fucking way,
But
like
really, he only murders one.
Yeah, but
meanwhile, like all the other,
one's really all you need, though, Jason.
He's
not America. Apparently,
murdering one is all you need.
In this one, he's the only murderer. Because Dexter opens it with the janitor. The janitor gets eaten, and then like that student Charlie gets fucking cowboy and like decides to go in there.
Yeah. But I do have to say though, his daydreams of killing fucking Billy are just priceless.
Oh yeah, I agree. Those
are the like most guns.
Oh God, Henry, what's wrong now?
So I mean, they're probably the most the comedic element of this entire thing. But the whole time when the janitor flips the coin and it goes under the thing and you're introduced to the crate.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because like I think there's a John Carpenter like kind of a leeway in there.
Well, there's an homage.
Yes.
Because the guy who did the special effects in this, and I can bring up his name. His name's like Salvini or something like that.
It's Tom Savini.
Tom Savini.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure he has ties to Rob Bottin in ways.
Well, he does actually.
But
yeah, they're friends.
Yeah, I mean, I know that he definitely. He was a special effects guy on this, obviously, and then he, had Rob Bottin, give him some advice on the actual creature.
Yeah.
Which they called the great creature on set was called Fluffy.
Yes.
It was the fluffiest of the creatures.
Yeah, so that would make sense, I suppose.
That's for sure.
But he was all animatronic.
Which was surprising to me. I mean, because I really felt like that was a guy in a costume.
Mm-hmm. I thought so as well.
But it was a whole. Yeah, it was Tom Savini's first animatronic character. Apparently,
you could tell. You could tell it was his first. with that said, I liked it more. I liked that more than I liked the freaking zombies. So, and that was Romero's thing.
Well, and apparently like with those ties to Rob Bottin and John Carpenter that Tom Savini has, like the writing on the side of the crate that would said Arctic, Arctic Expedition was all kind of like, saying like, hey, the thing, where this might be the, it's not the thing, but I think it was kind of
It was
trying to
definitely a reference. I think.
Yeah, reference.
Yeah, because I think it was labeled to Julia Carpenter.
Oh yeah,
on their Arctic expedition, like 1825. I can't remember the exact year, but yeah, and that's the first thing I thought of because it's so many ties to John Carpenter. Like I think that would be a great little throw in for him for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, when Dexter runs to Henry and kind of explains him, and he gets him fucked up and he passes out. So then Henry, he has this genius idea.
I'm gonna go murder my fucking wife.
Exactly. And he goes back and he cleans every fucking thing up. But that's the best part. I mean, it's the most gratifying. And he writes that note.
It's a very humid school. Because all that blood stays wet the whole time.
Oh fuck!
He's just going around with the mop, and he's just like it's like moving around water.
No stains.
I mean, that's on Tom Savini right there. I mean,
no, yeah,
you can't make sticky blood. What's going on?
You can't make sticky blood.
There's no coagulation here.
But yeah, I thought that was like, okay, so a few people have been murdered here over the past maybe 4 hours, and it's like he just goes in there and mops the blood up like it's just all been spilled at that point.
Well, maybe Fluffy has like some kind of anti-coagulant nail polish or something.
Some blood thinning.
If anybody's blood I felt that was going to be thin would have been Billy's.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so he gets really rough with her and he pushes her inside there.
Well, he's like, I mean, dude, this is the clunkiest fucking way to do this. He's like, up. There's a girl under there. Go over there.
You could tell he didn't really believe it, but he was so hoping he was willing to give it a shot.
Why did he start laughing hysterically in that? And like 2 scenes before that, he was like,
I agree. I was
he's like, oh gosh, you got to see this when you'll understand when you see what's it's like.
Because I think it's like in a sense because Dexter was so bad with women. I mean, it was like he was just kind of like maybe laughing the fact. It's like, I think he was gotta cover up about him again.
I think he was just giddy because he knew he was going to murder her.
That was him.
Yeah,
that actually might have been better. But that's what I mean. It's like this is I think for me out of all the sketches in this film, this is the most gratifying because right when you meet Billy, dude, you hope something terrible is going to happen to her the entire time she's on screen.
Yeah,
and then it happens, and it's so wonderful.
You're really drinking that Kill Billy Kool-Aid.
Oh shit, man. Dude, I've watched this movie so many times, and like every time this part is so gratifying.
She was terrible. I would have left her for sure, but I don't know if I would have fed her to the giant.
And when's the last time you got it up in our bed, Henry?
When was the last time you got it up, Henry? Huh? When was the last time you were a man in our bed?
Fuck. You know, that is,
But he also was such a fucking coward.
No, he was. I mean, he definitely was.
Like, he could have left her. Like,
But, he was a coward.
He was just like, I'm going to put my hands in my pocket and look at the ground,
All right, so far, where does this rank? One through, what are we on, number 3, number 4?
This is I think the third sketch.
This is the 4th sketch. But I think.
Oh no, you're right. It is.
I think it's easily the.
It's my top 2.
It's in the top 3.
Top 2 for me. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it's
mostly because of the violence, I think.
Yeah. Well, the gore I think is great.
Yeah.
And this is when Tom Savini does his best, and I love because there's a part in the movie that was cut. And it's right when Henry throws the crate down into...
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes, and originally it was planned for the body remains of Billy to float up after the monster broke through the crate.
So he breaks through the crate, underwater, and there's a bunch of bubbles. You don't really see the monster.
Yes.
The original plan was like after the bubbles clear, like there'd just be a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, body parts that would just float to the surface, and that was cut. And I would have loved that.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
And what would that probably was not even 20 seconds worth of film.
No, I think it was literally cut out because it was too violent. I don't think it was
too gory.
I don't think it was like a time thing.
I would have loved it, man. That's what I mean. Because this one is this is kind of like as a moviegoer, it's the most gratifying one out of the whole thing.
Well, it's got that typical like 70s 80s creature scratch to the face in crate. When he's just like
that was gnarly
that student gets
just like the no reason face scratch off.
Yeah. For no other reason than like, well, we can't really come away with any other, gore.
And I'm just gonna rip this guy's face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on one of my lists. It's down there.
Really?
I think it's above
above Father's Day.
It's above Father's Day. Father's Day wasn't very good. I want my cake.
Bitch. I want my cake, comma, bitch. That's what the subtitle said.
Yeah.
I do think that the last one, which is number 5, which is called
They're creeping up on you.
and it's the one with the germaphobe cockroach killing jerk.
Yeah, who is Upson Pratt,
Yes, Upson Pratt.
played by E.G. Marshall.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah, he's
Goddamn bugs.
that guy's he's not nice to anybody.
I guess
No.
Max von Sydow was originally slated to
Yeah,
play
which-
that character, which
I can't really visualize that. I don't think he's. I could see him being a germaphobe, but not like a mean CEO business.
yeah. But I mean, I guess he was an up and coming.
Super
Well, not
race.
really an up and coming. He was already kind of on the elder side. But I mean,
Eh.
with because with The Exorcist, I mean
Yeah.
that was shortly before.
True.
So I mean, it makes sense. But no, Upton Pratt, he was just that sadistical asshole. I mean,
Yeah, he's kind of racist. He was not kind. He was
Right,
racist.
he was
and-
racist. He was just an asshole. Yeah, you're right. And especially when he's talking to the people that work for him.
oh yeah. Well, every single conversation he had on the phone was just the worst.
How many men have you destroyed? How many men have you killed, you monster?
Only the stupid ones. Only the ones who handed me a knife and then stretched out their throats. Only the ones who, if you'll pardon the expression, fucked up.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that kind of conversation with anybody. But his little vacuum fucking like hole thing.
It
I
was-
mean,
it
what
was
is that?
It was a garbage. It was a
Like a garbage disposal vacuum.
No, it was like a germ-free garbage can.
Yeah.
Where it
But
sucks-
that was
sucks the
weird.
germs
I mean,
out.
that apartment.
It's like an airplane garbage can.
Like originally when you see this whole segment and this whole part, when you see it, you're just like, you feel like you should be in a hospital, like you think you're in a lab, and it doesn't make any sense. And then like you think you actually are in a lab for a while, and then when he finally says on the phone that he's in his what he calls, I think he said luxury, but anything a luxury apartment. And originally in the script it was called for like a carpeted area.
Yeah.
And like that, I mean, that can't happen, especially when like cockroaches are the major like villain and
Real cockroaches.
real cockroach. All the cockroaches are real.
Expensive.
Cockroaches.
You know, the cockroaches I read cost 50 cents a pop, and they used 250,000. So the cockroaches alone,
Probably have like
highest paid actor I bet in that fucking.
probably have like $100,000 worth of cockroaches in my yard.
125,000, dude.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Good. They were like I said. I like this one probably the most, and the reason why is because it reminded me a lot of the old like Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah.
It had that feel if you put it in black and white, and it had that kind
For
of feel to it.
sure.
Well,
It was really weird and abstract too.
yeah. Well,
It wasn't zombies. It was just like the second skit or the second where it was a meteor.
Yeah.
This one had more of a natured, gross feel to it. It was more of a creep show to me.
Well, it makes sense because I mean, to me, I think that one is the most plausible. I mean, it's ridiculous in its own, but I mean, like everybody is afraid of bugs in some way.
Eating bugs all my life. I'll beat you too, bastards.
Let it
Oh,
be
yeah.
spiders,
Yeah, especially cockroaches,
they're
man.
cockroaches.
Creepy crawlers.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can be the manliest of man. There's going to be something out there that bugs you, and most likely it's going to be a bug. And
Yeah, and it's like
you know,
I mean, he's essentially the only actor aside from the guy that comes to his door. But it's like weird how
dude,
you
that
know,
people was something else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the voice thing was weird.
Mr. Pratt? You there, Mr. Pratt?
Yeah, and like when he's talking to the people that work for him on the phone, and he's just berating them and like trying to get people to come out of vacation to get an exterminator for him, and it's like you kind of just feel like, man, like nobody stands up to this guy, and then that guy comes to the door and he's really like kind of like ornery and just
He's
like
super passive aggressive.
yeah.
the super, I
And
guess, who was what.
It just makes me wonder. I'm like, okay, so was the roaches like? Did somebody do that to him, or was that just a byproduct of his paranoia and like
No, dude, the roaches
karma
come
catching
back
up
to
with
life
him?
and shit. Those
Dude.
are some zombie ass roaches.
Well, that's actually one of my favorite parts of the film is, I mean, it's like when he's, he has no other choice but to go in his clean bedroom.
Yeah,
And it's like all of a sudden his bed starts moving all crazy and shit, and he flips back the blanket and there's like fucking 100,000. it pans back to just him laying on the bed dead.
Yeah.
But that's the best. I loved that special effect as far as like the cockroaches coming out of him.
Yeah. I thought that was better than like
anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else.
Gnarly for
I
sure.
felt that was probably one of the best special effects out of the entire film. Even the rice. I mean, Rice Krispies were used for the Father's Day.
Oh yeah.
One as the maggots
maggots.
in his eyes. You know, it's like, hey, at least he had a snack if it fell into his
terrible.
mouth. But I mean, I thought that was like the best special effect. I mean, it's like I like the special effects. I mean, I love practical effects. So I mean, the special effects, I loved them. But
I agree.
The cockroach part was definitely the one that eared the shit out of me way more than anything else. And I think that's what it is. I mean, I felt that the sketch was my least favorite, but had my favorite special effects shot.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the bugs, I didn't care. I didn't feel it creepy until that point when he got locked into his bedroom with all the cockroaches.
Well, and it's funny because he's so mean to all the people that work for him and other people, probably just anybody he comes across.
Yeah.
And then he kills the bugs, so it's kind of like he's murdering the bugs in a way.
Do you think there's a cockroach protection agency out there?
No, I just think I think cockroaches might have like a hive mind mentality.
Could that movie be made today?
Like Men in Black,
right? Yeah. That's the worst nightmare.
No, that's terrible. The cockroaches breaking out of his skin were pretty good.
Yeah.
I just thought it was the creepiest of the creep shows. To me, it was more of the skin crawly, like, oh, this is creepy. All the rest were instead of, I mean, it was cheesy because it was an 80s super early 80s movie, and that
Mm-hmm. No, it was.
But as far as the creep show aspect of the cockroaches, It got me the EBGBs a little bit.
No, that like, yeah, exactly. I mean, what I thought was really interesting about this, and this is the first movie of George Romero's that make #1 on opening weekend.
Yeah.
Out of all of his movies, it was Creepshow.
Yeah, well,
but it's the only movie he didn't write too.
Well,
I enjoy his scary movies, but they were all shitty.
Nah.
Like, I mean, none of them are. I mean, this one only had the acclaim because of who wrote it, and
yeah.
That's probably what it was, actually.
I mean,
and it's not
this
even
had to come out. This come out before. This had to have come out a little bit before Stand by Me. Then, he just wrote Stand by Me.
Yeah, well, this came out in '82, and Stand by Me came out a lot later.
Stand by Me was like 88, 87, maybe.
Was it that much later?
Yeah, oh yeah,
I believe it was. But
so this is more in his scary movie times. Then this would be like
this is on the cusp of when special effects were taking off. You know?
And for me, it's like, I think, I mean, honestly, it's like from all the Stephen King movies that you've probably seen,
yeah,
I would probably rate this one as one of the higher ones for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, have either of you guys seen Creepshow 2? I'm sure you have.
I actually have not.
Shut the fuck up. You haven't seen?
No.
No, I definitely haven't.
Oh God! Well, we got to do that some other time. But
we'll have to do sequels to this one. Then.
I mean, it was made a few in '87 or so.
Yeah,
and the budget's higher, so there's some crazy special effects in that one.
Well, yeah, and actually he comes back for that. Thomas Savini, I believe, comes back for Creepshow 2. Yeah, and I would too. I mean, Creepshow 1 was I thought fantastic, and that's what I grew up on.
Yeah, and it's it's just got that cheesy nature to it. The Creepshow 2 is more dark. It's like trying to be a little bit more scary, rather than cheesy.
Oh,
so I mean,
well, that's what I loved. I mean, that's another thing. It's like I loved how well this movie kept to the comic book, like all the way through. It's like the scene changes were great. It had the bar change with the thing. I think at every point, like what we talked about earlier, is like they just stay and they die. And every time they stay,
nobody runs.
Yeah, they stay and they die, but every time it's like that magenta-y, red-y, blue, like creepy ass like lighting that comes in right at
the background shows up and it's all like comic-y and psychedelic, and
then it goes boom, and they go into comic book frame, and I mean that's what I loved. I mean I was into comic books when I was a lot younger, so I think that was another pull definitely for this film, and that was one of my favorite aspects of this movie as well, was just the comic book feel.
Yeah, I just think it's a movie that, strangely enough, kind of holds its weight, because that it's 82. It's kind of like, okay, so you don't have high expectations rewatching this movie about the special effects, but then it's like Stephen King, but he stars in it and he wrote the screenplay.
Exactly.
There's plenty of Stephen King movies that he didn't write the screenplay on, so it's you have to take it like this is Stephen King.
Yeah, and
it's not like one of the ones where he's like, I didn't like that, like The Shining or whatever that.
Yeah, and him and George Romero were like good friends, and they've been looking for a project to do together, and it was like fucking perfect. And I know there's some aspects of this movie that's totally cheesy, and it's cool. I mean, it's 80s, and there's going to be a cheese level for sure. You can't get away from the 80s and not have a cheese factor. But the fact of having two very good horror writers / directors come together and make a film, I felt this was a fantastic addition and great for a Halloween episode.
It's fun, I mean, it's a fun movie to watch. That's all I'll say.
The only thing I really want to say, though, and I love the fact, this is another Did You Know, and I love the fact that Stephen King carried around a Greedo character.
Yeah, for good luck.
From Star Wars, for good luck.
Yeah.
Other than that, do we have anything else? I think we covered the movie pretty well.
It was a good...
What do you have to say?
It wasn't really a horror movie to me. It was more
I think it's just fun. I think it's a movie that like you can flip on and just have a good time watching, like laughing.
No, it is.
And,
yeah. But the good gore and special effects make it a horror genre. But yeah, overall, it's just a good time.
I enjoyed the Twilight Zone aspect of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then I mean, there's another movie that's kind of like this called Tales from the Dark Side. Have you guys ever heard that?
No, I don't think I've ever actually seen that, but I definitely have heard of it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that both of you guys haven't seen these other types of movies that are just like this, so we can watch them some other time. Because I mean, I had fun watching. I was like, dude, 5 stories and like, it banged it out in like an hour and a half or whatever, 2 hours.
The one that I always loved when I was a kid was Amazing Stories.
Yeah.
I mean, so...
But this is like Amazing Stories that's, gone bad.
Yeah, so, no, I mean, I love that. I love multiple stories in one thing.
It's something that people don't... I mean, that nobody makes those movies anymore, and it's like, I remember this from their childhood, and I'm like, man, it's pretty fun watching.
I feel like the way they do it now is they just... Vantage Point, if you've ever seen that movie, is a great example of that. It's a movie where it's like different point of views going on at the same time. That seems like the way they do it now. They don't do stories. They just go, we'll just rehash the same thing everybody's seen already, but
why?
Just a different point of views.
It's because these movies are based on books and nobody reads anymore.
Fucking God, yeah, exactly.
Nobody gets it if you like show a page and you're like, this is a new story. Like, no, wait.
Books are stupid.
Nobody reads.
Nobody reads anymore.
But we hope that you can read, so you can find us on iTunes.
And Facebook. And like us, damn it. So anyway, anything else anybody got to say about it? I mean,
we have
other Creepshow is pretty damn good. And
no, Creepshow is good. We have another very special podcast coming up that I'm really excited about. So
yes, the next episode is going to be with a special guest, Josh Funk, and he's going to be talking about Animation Chico Festival, and we'll be talking Beetlejuice. So please check in with us again. The Cinema Stash Rehash. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll saw ya.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Cinema Stash Rehash. Be sure to give us some awesome iTunes reviews, like us on Facebook. Don't forget to check out past episodes and join us next time on Cinema Stash Rehash.